Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week of the freaking year, guys. Every 52 weeks of the year, we're surprising you with new events. And, of course, oh my gosh, I forgot the spiel. What is it? A surprise you with new events at UFC current events. Oh my gosh, that's what happens when you just start going off on a tangent. But we like to spice up these intros here and there. But, of course, we're talking about UFC, and on today's episode, we'll be recapping all the action from UFC Vegas 102. That's right, the 102nd UFC Apex event. Oh my goodness, I'm getting sick of all these Apex events, but not too bad on predictions. 10-2, including 7-0 on the prelims. An excellent job from us. We'll be talking about all the fights and what is next for the fighters, as well new UFC fights that have been dropped. We're going to be discussing those new updates in pop culture, and I even have a little weekend recap to kick things off, guys. It was a fantastic Valentine's Day weekend. There's so many things going on in the life of Zachary, so many opportunities presenting themselves left, right, and center. It's just kind of choosing which ones to take, choosing which ones to pass on, and as of right now, I'm young, I'm 22, I'm trying to take every single opportunity I can get, go any place I'm invited, do anything I can within reason, never putting myself in danger. And I just think it's crazy that I just kind of get settled back down to earth when I'm able to come on here, talk about some UFC, talk about some pop culture, sports, and all the fun stuff. So I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you guys for always listening in and supporting me, I think is the best words we can use. But there's enough talk for that. There's another time for it. Let's get right on into things with, first off, a little weekend recap. Let me just say, guys, that this past weekend, Valentine's Day weekend, was so much fun. Got to see the girlfriend, had a nice dinner, spent a good time with her, but we also got to go to our first ever MMA event. That's right, I went to, I think it's called Mecca, what is it, Mecca 24 or something. It's put on by Ignite Fights, went down in Shakopee, Minnesota. There were 20 MMA fights, 12 Muay Thai fights, so many fights. It was a fantastic time. I was watching someone we've actually had on the podcast, Jimmy Ollis. I mentioned it before in the past episodes. Was going to watch him, and it was such a banging time. It was so much fun. I honestly had such a blast watching it. And the Muay Thai was action-packed right off the bat. Jimmy won his fight, by the way, domination. He dominated this guy, Gabe Pesh. I mean, truly, he pieced him up left, right, and center. The strikes must have been double for Jimmy. Thought he was going to get the knockout here and there, but man, some of these guys, it's just, their chins don't crack, and Gabe really hung in there. So good job to Gabe, but better off, good job to Jimmy Ollis as he got his 4th career victory, which is I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for the kid. He's so fun to talk to. Following his fight, I mean, you had a lot of other good Muay Thai fights. You had some weird ones here and there, but where the action really kicked off was in the MMA portion of the show, and you had some absolutely fantastic MMA fights, including at one point we had like 7 round 1 finishes in a row. It was utterly incredible. There was one, there's these kids, Darius Jordan and Josh Diedrich. These kids are 18, having their first ever MMA fight. They were amateur fights, but still, nonetheless, having their first ever amateur MMA fights. And Darius Jordan, this kid literally goes over, picks up the other, slams him down, and just starts laying some vicious ground and pound. Gets into full top mount. It was vicious, and I was loving it. You also had some very awkward instances where this, I believe it was Will Mulkin versus Elias Birafa. I think that's who it was. And Will, he had to take down, and he was coming up, and as he was coming up, he kneed Elias in the groin, and Elias holds his groin and puts his hand up, and in the same motion before the ref can stand in, Will clips him right on the chin, face plant KO. It's ruled a no contest. You hate to see it. You really hate to see it. But man, watching a face plant KO live is utterly insane. I was going nuts, and I saw what happened. I'm like, oh, maybe I should settle down. That wasn't the best choice to be up and cheering. Some other good fights here and there, but really where it was fun is when we got into the 5-fight main card. That is right, the main card live is also just as exciting as it is watching it on TV, more and more so in person. And I'll say one aspect I love is that when you're in person, there really isn't a bad seat in the building. Obviously the closer you get to the ring, and we were sitting cage side for the co-main and main event, which was incredible. We were able to get wristbands passed back to us. It is as good as people say it is. It is as good as you say to be right by the octagon. It is insane. But main card had a couple good ones. You had this heavyweight fight. This guy named Alvin Hines, who had sponsors and everything, absolutely ran through this guy named Junior Hicks. I think Alvin Hines is actually the number 3 heavyweight in, I want to say, the Midwest or something. It was something really wonky like that. In the co-main event, you had Ozzy Judge, who was a local legend. Dude, this guy's 40 45 from Minnesota. He's fighting David Boella, and I found out that David Boella is actually the nephew of Hulk Hogan. Of all people, Hulk Hogan, David Boella is the nephew of. And it was a competitive fight. It looked like two 40-year-olds throwing down. Let me tell you, they were both in their 40s. And David Miraxi was able to lock up an arm triangle. And I think Ozzy tried to tap at one point, but couldn't get it off. And David was able to submit him. Ozzy was completely passed out. Everyone wanted to make sure he was okay. And now David is your new IF Super Lightweight Champion. So good for him. I think it's Ignite Fights, Super Lightweight Champion. And he gets on the mic and he's saying he loves that Trump's in office, free Andrew and Tristan Tate, that Elon Musk is going to fix the government, send all the Mexicans back over the border. There was a Mexican family right next to me, and they start booing him. It was so funny. Everyone started booing him, actually. It was so funny. He had like a heel turn almost. He was saying he's going to go back and impregnate the ring girls. I was like, this dude has this dude's 44 saying this stuff. You got to be kidding me. But it was exciting. And then we got to the main event. I was talking to my buddy Casey's dad, Dion, and he had bet Casey and his buddy Noah before on the previous two fights on who he thought would win. And we get the main event, and he's like, all right, Zach, let's do this. Like, who are you going to pick? And we got this guy from Kyrgyzstan, Bekmirza Dozmatov, taking on this guy in Austin Tweedy. And I took one look at Bekmirza Dozmatov, and I'm like, I'm picking this guy. Lo and behold, 30-26 is him across the board. Domination. Bekmirza might be my new favorite fighter. And as he's walking up the octagon, as he's walked in out of it, up the stage, I dap him up and I dap his team up, dude. It was so cool. I was having the best time there. I was like a kid in a candy store. This was like, when I don't even know how to compare it. It's a kid in the candy store. I love MMA. I'm at an MMA event. It was a fantastic time, and I encourage everyone to go. 30 fights. It takes a long time. I was there 7 hours. Lexi was with me, so shout out to her for toughing it out with her boyfriend for, 7-8 hours watching MMA. But let me just tell you, I will do it in a heartbeat. And I heard that LFA is going to be doing some fights in Minnesota at a casino, which I'm very excited about. If I can get tickets to that, I am so going. And I'm going to look to get some interviews with the fighters, maybe get some short-form content. My buddy Casey was telling me I should do that, and I think it's a fantastic idea. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. I really hope it does, but I think that's enough talk about my weekend. Good weekend overall. A little snowy up here in Minnesota for any of my listeners that aren't in Minnesota. It's negative. It's cold. I'm recording this at night. I probably gotta go start my car after I'm done recording this so that I can actually make sure it starts in the morning. But it is what it is. Good weekend overall. I absolutely love MMA, as you all know. But let's get right on into it, guys, with some new UFC fights. And we've had some fight cancellations here and there. We've had some new UFC fights dropping left, right, and center. So let's talk about some of the big ones that have been announced. I can't even remember last time we spoke about this. It's already February 17th. I think we have spoken on like the 13th or something. But kicking us off, we have a main event official for UFC Vegas 105 going down April 5th. And it is the number 8 ranked featherweight Josh Emmett taking on the number 11th ranked Leron Murphy. Leron Murphy 15-0 with one draw. He is undefeated in his professional career, coming off of big wins over Dan Ige and Edson Barbosa. He is on a roll, and he's getting his second straight main event. Actually, I think it's his second main event. I think he had the Dan Ige fight after the Edson Barbosa fight. But Josh Emmett, this is long overdue. What if I were to tell you Josh Emmett didn't fight in 2024 after potentially having the knockout of the year in 2023? Would you have believed me? I'm sure you wouldn't have. But that's right, Josh Emmett has not fought since he knocked out Bryce Mitchell, which I'm sure everyone would have been very, very happy about now if that would have happened. But yes, Josh Emmett back in action. This will be tough. This will be tough because Josh Emmett coming in with a lot of momentum. But mind you, Josh Emmett turns 40 March 5th. That's pretty insane. Josh Emmett turns 40. Meanwhile, you have Leron Murphy. Leron Murphy is 6 years his senior. He's undefeated. He's on the run of a lifetime. I don't know. It's going to be tricky. I'm probably going to back Leron since there's some divisions. Like we're going to talk about the middleweight division. That one's tough to break into. The featherweight, I think Leron Murphy can break to the top 10 here. I'm pretty confident in his abilities, but we'll have to see what takes place. I'm excited, though. Should be a good one. Coming up next, and we're actually going to be talking about this on the next episode later in the week at UFC Seattle, Nursultan Ruzaboyev gets a new opponent as he takes on Eric McConaughey Jr. Eric McConaughey, 9-1, will be making his UFC debut. He actually holds a win over UFC veteran Maki Pitolo, who didn't do too well in the UFC, but nonetheless, that's a good name to have on his roster. As for Nursultan Black Ruzaboyev, 3 fights in the UFC. His only loss is a decision to Joaquin Buckley, which has aged beautifully, I might add. I'm excited for that one. Another one for you. This one for UFC Seattle. As the number 15th ranked light heavyweight Atomic, Alonzo Menifield is back in action as he takes on the debuting 6-0 Julius Walker. Julius Walker fighting out of Fight Hard MMA. Yeah, actually has a win over Bevan Lewis. All right, Bevan Lewis was a legit middleweight for a time. And, Alonzo Menifield, it's tough. It's tough. He is such a fast starter. No, he's been knocked out by Carlos Ulberg. He's been finished by Nikita Krylov. He's been finished by Ryan Spann, but now's a real opportunity for Alonzo to pick up a good win over a tough young up-and-comer who's definitely going to be hungry to beat him. And don't mind that Alonzo Menifield is 38 years old. He is still a threat to be dealt with, so I'll be excited for that one, as we're going to be doing a prediction for that on next week's episode. Actually, next episode, I should say. A veteran matchup at welterweight as Santiago Ponzinibbio will be taking on Daniel Rodriguez. This one's going down May 3rd, which is rumored to be in Iowa, I've heard. Santiago, veteran of the game, 30-8, picked up a win last time out against goodness knows who. I honestly can't remember. His opponent, actually, was it Carlston Harris? Was it Carlston Harris? I can't remember. His opponent, Daniel Rodriguez, he's searching for a win. Daniel Rodriguez is really, really searching for a win. Both of these guys up there in age, I believe 39 for each of these men. They aren't going to make a run. They aren't going to win a world title, but they are still going to put on a banger fight. And we're kind of getting all these matchups with all the old welterweights, and this is one of the final few matchups you can make. I always find it funny when they're matchmaking all the old guys in their divisions. You're like, okay, these two haven't fought yet somehow. Let's matchmake those two. That's kind of how it is. UFC 314 has a new fight for the prelims as the middleweight division gets Cedric Dumas, who'll be dropping down from light heavyweight to take on Mikhail Olakajacek. Michael Olakajacek is pretty decent. He's from Poland. He's had a couple notable fights against, I want to say, Kevin Holland is one name that comes to mind. I'm sure there's some others in there. And as for Cedric Dumas, 3-2 in the UFC, has really left no impression. I'm so confused why he's still in the UFC. But if he can pick up a win in Miami, good for him. Here's one main card, UFC 313, the number 13th ranked lightweight, Jalen Turner, coming off of his loss to Renato Moicano, is back in action as he takes on the 16-5, 5-2 in the UFC, Ignacio Bahamondes. And Ignacio, he's been earning his keep. He's been getting wins at the Sphere. He's been knocking out guys with spinning wheel kicks for the longest time, and he finally gets a ranked opponent. Long overdue. You already know I'm back in Ignacio all day of the week. I'm excited for this. Dude, he has two of the nastiest spinning back wheel kicks I've ever seen in my life. I'm pumped for this one. It's on the main card, UFC 313, which means you gotta pay to see it. Here's something you don't have to pay to see, and this one's going to be on the UFC Seattle main card as Rob Font, who was originally supposed to take on Dominic Cruz. Of course, Dominic Cruz gets injured. He actually retires from MMA. Best of luck to him in his future endeavors in the broadcasting department. But Rob Font, the number 9 ranked bantamweight, will now be taking on the 16-0, 24-year-old Gene Matsumoto. Incredible. Gene Matsumoto just the other week is out here beating, I want to say it is Brad Katona, and now he's getting the number 9 guy in the world, Rob Font. Rob Font is so legit. I know how good Rob Font is, but there's just something about thinking Gene Matsumoto could go from unranked to the number 9 bantamweight in the world. You already know I'm going to be back in Gene Matsumoto for that, but maybe I won't. You'll have to stay tuned for our prediction coming at you this upcoming Thursday. I think that's when I'll drop the episode. Another matchup for you, UFC Kansas City in Kansas City, Missouri, April 26th, as Anthony Lionheart Smith, the number 14th ranked light heavyweight, takes on the 18-6, 2-0 in the UFC, 100% finish rate, Zhang Min Yang, the Mountain Tiger. Yeah, this is Anthony Smith's retirement fight, and he's taking on a guy with a 100% finish rate. I mean, dude, we've fed him Tucos, Ozzy Diaz, and Brenson Ribeiro, and he has just manhandled all 3 of those guys. Like, he ate them all for breakfast and spit them out. So, Anthony Smith, go out fighting on your shield, but Zhang Mingyang is coming for your head. Here's one for you. Women's bantamweight action as the number 15th ranked Nora Cornoli takes on the unranked Haley Cohen at UFC Montreal. Actually, UFC 315 is in Montreal, Canada. May 10th. How about that? I didn't even know we were going back to Montreal, Canada. Interestingly enough, Nora Cornoli 2-1 in the UFC. Haley Cohen 0-1. 0-1, she's getting a ranked opponent. That's how not deep the women's bantamweight division is, just to give you a bit of a preview. 2 more fights for you. This one for UFC 313 is the number 15th ranked bantamweight flyweight Joshua Van takes on the unranked Ray Tatsura, who is 10-0. Coming off a win over Carlos Hernandez. Dang it! He was supposed to take on Bruno Silva. He was supposed to take on the number 13 guy. Now my sweet boy, Fearless Van, has to take on an absolute killer in Ray Tatsura. But you know what? I have a good feeling in Joshua. I think he can get past Ray. It won't be easy. You know, them Japanese boys, they are tough. Look at Tetsuo Taira, for example. But Joshua Vansker, really need to dial in for that. So we'll have to see. Final new fight for you. Women's bantamweight action is the number 10 ranked women's bantamweight Yana Santos takes on the number 11th ranked Misha Tate, coming off of a win. Actually got a submission win last year. As for Yana, I can't remember the last time she won. She's 5-5 in the UFC, 15-8 overall, and she's married to Thiago Santos. That's all I got for you. She's also approaching 40, but mind you, Misha Tate is also approaching 40. So this is a battle of some of the older women in the division. Wouldn't it make more sense to have the young guns fight them? I guess not. Yes, it's not how we do things in the UFC, but that's okay. That's okay, ladies. It's not your fault. It's the matchmaker's fault, let me tell you. That's all your new UFC fights. We were waiting in the wings for UFC 314 to be announced. Some people are saying it's Yotapira Volkanovski. Some people are saying it's Alexander Pantoja, Kai France. Some people are even saying Islam Makhachev versus Yotapira. We'll have to see what's main event in Miami, but as for now, those are all your new UFC fights. I'll tell you what else is new, though, and that's some new things in the pop culture world. The pop culture department, courtesy of Disgusting Film. On just about every episode, we look at the top 10 new things in pop culture, courtesy of me, Zachary, who gets to choose which ones he reads out loud. So let's get right on into it. Starting off with number 1, Epic Games sued a Fortnite tournament player for cheating, which resulted in his account being banned for life, forced to donate his winnings to charity, and he's required to make an apology video admitting the cheating. Are we supposed to feel bad for him? He cheated, and the company caught him, and they sued him as they should have. Why would you cheat? Why would you ever cheat? Don't cheat in life, guys. And if you're going to cheat, don't get caught. In the words of the late, great Eddie Guerrero, I lie, I cheat, I steal. Right? Don't get caught. What are you doing, you fool? Cheating online, dude, you're going to get caught. You're always going to get caught. In Epic Games, they love their money. Tell me, I bought some V-Bucks. They've sucked me in, but guess what? I bought some cool skins, so it was worth it. In the Battle Pass. Gotta love the Battle Pass. Number 2, first looks at Matt Damon as Odysseus in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. It hits theaters on July 17th, 2026, and he looks like a Spartan. Looks like he's a Spartan. So Matt Damon is playing a Spartan. Not the biggest fan of Matt Damon personally. I'm about to watch Good Will Hunting with Ryan coming up this week, so maybe that'll change my impression of him. But I don't know. I'm just not really sold on Matt Damon personally. I don't know. Maybe it's personal preference or something, but I don't hate the guy in any regards. But he looks kind of cool in his little Spartan getup with the little helmet or whatever. Good stuff. I'll probably go watch the movie if I'm being honest. It sounds like it's going to be good. Number 3, Dave Bautista tells us that he doesn't want to keep playing the big dumb guy role in movies from now on. He says in his words, it would have to be a very special character if he just wasn't the brightest, like Drax. That was a really special character. Okay. Good for you, Dave. The industry has completely corrupted you. I liked you better when you were suplexing John Cena onto steel steps. But that's just me. He was good as Drax, and he was good in, what was the one movie? The Glass Onion. He was pretty good in Glass Onion, but nothing will beat Drax. Drax is probably going to be the best role of his career. But hey, he can always separate himself. There's always time. Number 3, Tatiana Maslany says she's down to return. Actually, this is number 4. Tatiana Maslany says she's down to return as She-Hulk in Daredevil Born Again. Would I be born again? ? I mean, absolutely. I would have a lot of serious bones in my body. Look, She-Hulk is an absolute joke of the MCU. Don't bring her to Daredevil, which I believe is a actual serious show in the MCU. I'm not going to watch it, but hey, that's how it goes. Number 5, I was 28 when I signed on to do 5 films and will be 54 when we finish them, says Zoe Saldana on the journey of making the Avatar sequels, which I find absolutely crazy. Zoe Saldana was 28 years old when she first signed on to do 5 films for Avatar. This was back in 2008 when they were filming. She is now going to be 54. That's just such a crazy, crazy thought, is that you're getting the 3rd film this year. I think they're shooting for the 4th film next year, maybe the 5th after that. I don't know, but these Avatar films take a lot of work to film. But hey, Zoe Saldana, you've made a living off of playing a great character. I wouldn't be too mad about it, but I think you just ride with it. Number 6, Spike Lee's remake of High and Low is eyed to premiere at Cannes Film Festival in May, starring Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, Ice Spice, and A$AP Rocky. What a goofy cast. Denzel Washington was a great villain in Gladiator 2. That's all I have to say about him. He's a good guy. I think you never know with these Hollywood actors. It's really tough. Number 7, here's a fun one. Alan Richardson confirms a Blue Mouth State sequel series will be happening at Amazon. He says, I'm trying to work it into my schedule. Honestly, I think it's going to be the best season of Blue Mountain State we've ever had. You mean to tell me that Alan Richman is going back from Reacher back to play Thad Castle. It's probably going to be like a grown-up Thad Castle going back to coach the team. Sign me up. Sign me up immediately. He is so freaking funny. And I'm excited for Reacher Season 3. That's got to be coming out in March here soon. It should be really, really good. I'm pumped for it. Number eight, what should we share? There's got to be like 3 more good things to talk about here. First, look at the return of Harvey Specter in the new Suits series. He will appear in a 3-episode arc. Interestingly enough, Suits is one of those shows that I really have to get around to watching. Just never really, I don't know. I didn't have Netflix for the longest time. Wasn't in the mood to binge watch something super long, so I never really got around to it. But I've heard it's good. Lexi's liked it. A couple of my other friends have liked it. We'll have to see. We'll have to add it to the watch list. That's all I'll tell you. Number 9, last stuff with SNL. That's what number 9 will be. There's a lot of stuff with SNL. They had their 50th show ever. So many celebrities all in one place. If you hate celebrities, that would have been the place to go out and yell something like, I hate you, celebrities. And they all would have booed you. But you know what? I'm not really interested in all of that. It's just phoniness to me. And number 10, the final thing, Captain America Brave New World opens with 192.4 million worldwide, is the 3rd highest opening for a Captain America movie. Mind you, it says it is the 3rd highest opening for a Captain America movie. There have only been 4 Captain America movies. I just want to add that little context in there, is that this wasn't the most popular film. And I'm going to be honest, I'm just not hyped for it. I don't know if I'm even going to go see it in theaters. I doubt I will. I doubt I'm going to go see it. It's just there's not an attraction level for me. Plus, Anthony Mackie is out there saying hey, this isn't about being Captain America. It's about uniting America and bringing it together. I'm like, oh, shut up. Grab your shield. Fight some bad guys. Say we're the best country on earth, and we're all good. We don't need to make everything a freaking political statement, for goodness sakes. And also, at the end of the day, it is just a movie. So what do I really care? In all honesty, I got other stuff to do in my life. Goodness me, I have speeches to write. I have people to impress. I have trips to make. I have places to go, people to see. As you all know, I'm a busy, busy man as the podcaster of the year. I wish one day we're taking this thing to the moon, but that's all we got for new pop culture news. We're going to leave that there. We're going to segue perfectly into our finale of the episode, as we're going to be recapping UFC Vegas 102. I was sadly unable to watch this full event, which is one of the few UFC events in the last 5 years I haven't been able to watch, but I think we can give a pretty good analysis. I watched the highlights, saw some of the clips, and I'm able to, of course, look at the UFC stats page, which is not loading on my laptop. I have to use my phone to do this. When everyone wonders, Zach, why are you never able to record? It's because I use my phone throughout the entire freaking podcast. Now, I could buy a camera. That's a story for another day. But as I mentioned, 10-2 on the card. I don't get much better than that. The one doozy is we did predict the main card, the main event, I should say, incorrectly, which hurts. I always like predicting the main event correctly, but you win some, you lose some. That's all I got to say to that. But let's get right into it, guys. 7-0 on the prelims, and we kick things off women's bantamweight action as Jacqueline Cavalcante took on Julia Avila, and she was a huge -500 favorite, -900 favorite or whatever. For a reason, Jacqueline beats her handsomely, and she will get to keep it going. Keep the little win streak alive for Jacqueline Cavalcante. I believe, trying to think correctly, it's at 7. She's at 7 straight wins now. Impressive stuff. As for Julia Avila, back in the losing category. Back in the losing category for Julia. This is now 2 straight losses, 1-3 in her last 4. And, she was ranked 12, Jacqueline 13. Jacqueline's going to move up to 12 probably, doing what she needs to do to get the wins. It was 30-27s across the board, 73 significant strikes of 54. Julia landed 1 takedown for a minute and 39 seconds control time in round 2. That was just about it. Jacqueline barely outstruck her throughout the whole fight, and she picks up the victory. Good stuff. Good stuff, Jacqueline. We thought she would win. She got the win, as expected. As expected, not much more to say. And, we already have a fight booked between Miesha Tate and Yana Santos. I think the number 9 ranked Carol Rosa has a fight booked with someone. She has a fight booked with someone. Maribel Silva is ranked number 8. That could be a potential opponent, but we'll have to see. So Jacqueline Cavalcante probably taking on the loser or winner of Yana Santos and Miesha Tate. Cara Rosa or maybe Mauro Bueno Silva might be a lot of waiting for. We'll have to see. As for Julia Avila, there's the 14th ranked Chelsea Chandler. We already mentioned Nora Cornoli's fighting. If she wins that fight against Haley Cohen, though she could take on Julia Avila, or even if Haley wins, she could take her on. I don't know. No one really has any notoriety. We just need to get this belt in the hands of Kayla Harrison, and the women's bantamweight division will be made great again, as the great Donald Trump says. Next up, heavyweight action. And what if I were to tell you that Walter Walker is going to be a ranked heavyweight as he gets a second straight heel hook in round 1 to submit Dontel Mays. Walter Walker getting his third career submission. Dontel Mays submitted for the third time in his career. I mean, name of the game. Walter went right across the octagon, took him down, and controlled him for 58 seconds of the 1 minute and 17 seconds this fight lasted. Great work. Great work for Walter, and after starting off his career with a doozy of a decision loss to Lucas Brzezic, he's followed up with 2 great heel hook victories, and now he's going to be ranked number 15 in the division. Honestly, great work for Walter Walker. I was going to say Dontel Mays, but no, not the case for Dontel Mays. Dontel Mays now on a 2-fight losing streak. He's 1-3 in his last 4, and I think it's the end for Dontel Mays. It might be time to back it up. He's 35. It's time to say hit the high road and cut your losses, Dontel. I think he's going to get cut here sooner or later. Best for Walter. I mean, dude, you literally takes him down, locks in the heel hook, and Dontel had nothing to do. It was locked in precisely. He's going to be ranked number 15. Number 14, Kenny Nchukwu. He has more opportunities coming up. Number 13th ranked McParkin has fights coming up. I think the number 12 ranked Waldo Cortez Acosta would be a perfect fight, or even the number 10 ranked Tai Tuivasa. A lot of options for Walter Walker, and the heavyweight division is such an easy division, if you're talented, I should say, to speedrun. I mean, Cyril Gane skyrocketed up there. Sergey Pavlovich, after taking 2 years off, skyrocketed up there. Halton Almeida skyrocketed up there. I mean, if you are even a sliver talented, you can make it work. Now, obviously, all the guys in the top 15 are talented, but it's, if you're, the difference between the top 6 at heavyweight and the bottom 9 for the rankings is so evident. It's pretty impeccable. So Walter Walker versus Tai Tuivasa will make, and Dontel Mays, I think it's time you get to cut. I'm sorry, my friend. Following that up, competitive bantamweight matchup as the debuting Elijah Smith took on Vince Morales, and lo and behold, Vince got it not done. That's right, we picked Elijah, and Elijah won. 12 years his youngerness. Oh my goodness. 40 significant strikes for both of these men, 52 total strikes for Elijah compared to 42 for Vince, 3 takedowns for Elijah, 2 for Vince, 3 minutes of control time for both of these individuals. Good win for Elijah Smith. He is now 8-1, is on a 6-fight winning streak, and 22 years old. How about that? 2 wins now in the UFC. It don't get much. Actually, first win in the UFC. He also won a Damon's Contender Series, but great win, man. There's nothing much more I can say to that. I mean, I'm impressed. I was impressed with him. Now, there was one funny moment. So Elijah started the fight really strong. He started this one off looking good, looking stellar as always, and kind of faded in round 3. Just kind of a faded a tad in round 3. Strikes were still close, but at the end of the fight, like I'm talking the final 10 seconds, Vince lands a standing choke, almost like how Shavkat Rakhmonov tapped out Jeff Neal, and he locks him at 10 seconds left. And there's this funny picture of Elijah looking at the clock, and he's talking about this as post. He's like, I'm getting choked out. I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, there's no way that Vince is about to choke me out right now. I'm about to lose this fight. So Elijah was able to hang in there, getting the win, and beautiful stuff for Elijah. As for Vince, this is his 4th straight loss, and he's gone a very lackluster 3-7 in the UFC, including losing on Dana White's Contender Series. Let's cut him. Let's get him out of here. Vince Morales, you can say you fought in the UFC, you can say you're better than all the independent guys, but Elijah Smith, his time is now. Good win for the kid. You'll love to see it. And as for the men's bantamweight division, so many options. I wouldn't even know who to choose. For you, but if we look at last week's card, based off of what I saw at UFC 312, there's a fight between Alexander Tompera and Colby Thicknees. You could bring Colby Thicknees back for a matchup. You could even have Alexander Tompera take on this guy. There's unlimited options, Mr. Unlimited options at men's bantamweight. Elijah Smith is here to stay, and he's so far doing pretty good. Following that up, we got our first performance bonus of the night, and it's in the men's welterweight division as Gabriel Bonfim makes quick work of Chaos Williams. I was very surprised. I thought he was going to get a decision win here, but no. A round 2 dart stroke with 2 seconds left. Gabriel Bonfim showing that there are levels to this, and Gabriel Bonfim improving to a immaculate 17-1, and that was his 16th career finish. Great work for Gabriel Bonfim. After losing his first professional bout in 2023, he's now on a 2-fight winning streak, and he gets his first UFC performance bonus. Great work for the kid. Great work. As for Chaos Williams, this does snap a 2-fight losing streak. Sad to see, but Hey, man, nothing to be mad about. 35 significant strikes to 20 in favor of Bonfim, 4 of 5 on takedowns. That was the name of the game, especially the one in round 2, where he was able to get him to the ground, lock up the darce, and once you're in that darce, there is going nowhere. Nowhere for you to run, as Gabriel Bonfim makes quick work of Chaos Williams. So I guess it wasn't too quick, almost went to round 3, but nonetheless, you get the point. In terms of who both of these men could fight next, Chaos Williams, I got a fight for you. Santiago Ponzinibbio is taking on, who did we say he's taking on? We had literally just mentioned it. Santiago is taking on Daniel Rodriguez. Chaos can fight the winner of that. Fight a veteran, get a victory. That's all you can do at the end of the day. I mean, other than that, there's nobody else on this card I can matchmake him with. He's nowhere near ready for a ranked opponent. Same thing kind of goes for Gabriel Bonfim, though. That's the issue. I don't know what to do with him. Now, as I look at the welterweight rankings, I mean, Neil Magny, I think, is a name that comes to mind when I think of someone Gabriel Bonfim could fight. Maybe even someone like Vicente Luque, if we were to give him a ranked opponent. But I think he's legit. I think he's competitive. And honestly, I was impressed. Good work for Gabriel Bonfim. Next up, we had a flyweight matchup, and I really was wondering if I should pick against Rafael Estevam, because undefeated fighters have been doing terrible this year, but he gets it done against Jesus Aguilar. Scrapes away with the 29-28 decision. Tough win. Tough win for the minus 550 favorite at close. I mean, this one was really, really awkward. 11 significant strikes to 35 in favor of Jesus. 60 total strikes to 41 in favor of Rafael Estevam. 11 of 19 on takedowns for 9 minutes, 22 seconds control time. Jesus lands 2 of his own for a minute and 15 seconds. So it was a grapple fest from the start. 5 takedowns in round 1, 5 takedowns in round 2. Jesus wins rounds 3, but it is not enough. Jesus was trying to throw up some subs too in round 1 and 2, but he just couldn't get it done. Couldn't get done, and Rafael Estevam, undefeated now at flyweight, and guess what? Guess what? He is a beautiful 13-0. 13-0. Very, very good. Very, very proud of him. Jesus, tough loss, man. Tough loss. He'd been on a 3-fight winning streak. Jesus will be back, but in terms of the UFC rankings, I mean, at flyweight, Rafael Estevam, throw him to the rankings. How about Kaya Sakura? Okay, you got Charles Johnson also taking on, oh my gosh, it's, is it Tamaran Ismariov? We're going to mention it next week, but he's a tough competitor. Whoever wins that or loses that fight, Rafael Estevam could take on, 2-0 through his first 2 fights. Good stuff there. Both these guys are legit. It's just Rafael Estevam coming away with the victory. 28. These guys will be in the UFC for a while. After that, we were supposed to have Jared Gordon and Masharsan Ruzaboyev, but Masharsan pulled out. So Jared Gordon left without an opponent. Sorry for you, Gordon. It is not the best of circumstances. But then we did have a women's matchup between Angel Hill and Ketlin Souza. Now, I didn't see this fight, but I heard the decision was bad. I heard that everyone thought Ketlin should have won. Now, all the stats point towards Angela Hill, if I'm being honest, as I read the stats out. 86 significant strikes to 70, 103 total strikes to 77, 2 of 6 on takedowns, 4.5 minutes control time. Don't really know what they were looking at here, but I didn't watch it, so I was unable to see. It did go to a split decision, so I apologize. Can't really give an analysis. But Angela Hill walks away with the decision. Nonetheless, if it was that close, both these women deserve to be here. So Angela Hill was ranked 13th. Let's give her a top opponent. Let's do it to her. Number 8 ranked Amanda Hebus. Number 9 ranked Marina Rodriguez. Number 10 ranked Tabitha Ritchie. Number 4 ranked Jessica Andrade. Let's give Angela Hill a run, okay? She's 40 years old. She's ready to be given an opportunity to prove herself. I think she is. For Ketlin, I mean, it's a tough loss, but you took Angela Hill to a split decision. You're ready for the Luiana Pineros, the Tisha Penningtons, the Lupi Godinez's. You're ready for those fighters in the bottom 15. For Angela, let's give her a big opportunity. Truly, let's give her a big opportunity. Sink or swim at her age. Maybe she'll make a run. Maybe she'll make a run for the title. I can't help but love her. She is this division's Michael Johnson, this division's Jim Miller, this division's Neil Magny, and she is the ultimate gatekeeper of any women's division that I've ever watched. Following that, we headed to our final prelim of the evening, and it was Jose Delgado taking on Connor Matthews, and I knew Jose would run through this man. Round 1 finish for Jose Delgado, making his fifth career knockout, 9th career finish for Jose Delgado. I mean, just beautiful work. Beautiful work from Jose Delgado in his UFC debut. Gets taken down by Connor Matthews and is able to reverse it, get in the top position, and just lay down punches from mount. It was vicious. Vicious stuff for Jose Delgado, but I'm impressed, Mother. I'm impressed. 9-1 now for Jose Delgado. 6th straight win. Good work. And hey, featherweight division, we're always needing killers. We're always in need of killers for the men's featherweight division. You know, you got your Jack Jenkins, your Gabriel Santoses, your Chepe Mariscals, your Pat Sabatinis. You got Jerison Brito out there. There's a lot of unranked featherweights that could be in need of an opponent. You know, Akeem Dawodo could be an opponent that Jose could take on. 26 with a win streak like this, I mean, I'm liking his odds. As for Connor, I'm sorry. You went 1-1 on Day 1's Katera series. You've been knocked out in both of your UFC appearances. You're 7-3. Ooh, I don't know. 32 years old. I think Connor Matthews may be not in the UFC much longer. I'm sorry, Connor. I hate to say it, but it seems your time is drawing to an end. As for Jose, this is just getting started. So, Connor, good work all around. Making it to the UFC. I don't know if you're going to be here much longer. Hey, maybe I'll be seeing you fight in the main event of one of my Ignite fight cards that I go to in the future. With that, we got into the main card, and our first incorrect prediction of the night is Andre Petroski beats Rodolfo Vieira. And to everyone's surprise, this was a striking affair. Now, Rodolfo did go 1 of 11 on takedowns, got 1 minute and 50 seconds of control time, but Andre only 0 of 2. You know, he defended 4 in round 1, 3 in round 2, and Rodolfo finally got one in round 3 to win that round. But round 2 and 1, both close striking affairs is the word I was looking for. But Andre's power was just more evident with his punches. So, good win for Andre Petroski, keeping the little win streak alive at 3 straight fights. And, dude, guys, 7 wins since 2021. I think he is the 3rd most in the middleweight division. Great work. Great work for Andre Petroski. He has a couple awkward knockout losses in there, but kicking off the year with a win is a great start. As for Rodolfo, I mean, this dude goes 2 wins, 1 loss. 1 win, 1 loss, 2 wins, and a loss. I mean, he just has a little pattern to his career. Rodolfo Vieira could come back. He could come back, but really I'm more interested in Andre Petroski. Andre's 33, Rodolfo's 35. Middleweight division is just, we had an Andre, he called out Bo Nickel. That fight's not going to take place, in my humble opinion. I don't know what to do with these guys. They're both going to stick around. I think it's just more a matter of who could they fight. You have a fight coming up with Abus Magomedov and Andre Muniz. I think the loser of that versus Andre Petroski could be a good fight. And then you have Bruno Ferreira taking on a guy in Armin Petrosian. I think having Rodolfo Vieira fight the loser of that would be an intriguing fight. So we'll see what happens with all those ones. Good stuff for Andre. This was a hit or miss, and sadly Rodolfo didn't get it done. Despite outstriking him, the power landed more with Andre Petroski. Following that, we had an unfortunate result as Nazim Sadikov and Ismail Bonfim, which was lining up to be fight of the night, is called short after round number 1. Now, I correctly predicted that Nazim would win, and he did win. He gets a TKO, actually, so Nazim's win streak extends to 10-fight win streak, 10-1 record, gets his 9th career finish in there. I mean, impressive stuff for Nazim. And it all came from Nazim landing one of the most beautiful question mark kicks I've ever seen, especially in slow motion, hitting Ismail right in the eyes. And when he's speaking to the ringside physician, and he has a translator in there, they're asking, can you see? And I don't know if there's a mix-up, if he actually couldn't see, but the doctor's like, this guy is in no condition to keep competing. And that was that for Ismail Bonfim. So Bonfim, he is going to be now 2-2 in the UFC. He'll definitely be back, 20-5 record now, but I mean, there's not much to do. There really isn't nothing for him to do, if I'm being honest. Good stuff for, oh my gosh, what's it? Nazim Sadikov. Nazim Sadikov is a tough SOB in the lightweight division, has an absolute stud, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. As for Ismail, back to the drawing board. There's Grant Dawson's, Benoit St. Denis, Rafael Fiziev. I would love to see Nazim take on those guys. You got Chase Hooper and Jim Miller. You got Ignacio Bermudez and Jalen Turner, the loser of that. Nazim's going to be getting a big fight. As for Ismail Bonfim, he's just going to have to scrape away, find some opponent to take on, and the opportunities will come. The opportunities will come, kid. I feel it. Ismail. And hey, these guys, 30-29, you may think they're in their last stages of their career. They got another solid 5 to 6 years left in them. So we'll be seeing these two down the line, I think, fight again. After that, middleweight action as we get our second and final performance bonus of the night as Edmund Shabazian knocks out Dylan Buka in 1 minute and 35 seconds. Just as you would expect. just as he should. Edmen Shahbazyan getting it done, 27 years old, 12th career knockout, 13th career finish. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good to watch Edmen Shahbazyan win. It really does. First win since March of last year. It was long overdue. Long overdue. And this was just as plain as simple. Dylan had no business being in there. How did Dylan get into the UFC even? I'm so confused. 0-3 in his UFC appearances, finished in two of them. I mean, just an embarrassing effort from Dylan Buka. I think everyone's pretty much on the same train that Dylan Buka might be one of the worst fighters in UFC history. Never really did anything, a one game plan type of fighter. And Edmen straight up cracks him. I mean, it wobbles backwards, falls down, lands a couple of fall punches, and that was that. Edmen back in the wing category, and there's a limited option for him. Everyone loves Edmen. I mean, I saw someone throwing out Paul Craig as a potential opponent. People saying Michel Pereira. I mean, we could even look onto this card. You could match make, who were we just talking about? Andre Petroski and Edmen Shahbazyan. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options for Edmen Shahbazyan. I'm excited to see where he goes. You know, if it was me and I had to match make him, I mean, Bruno Ferreira is a really intriguing opponent for me because he's a big striker. I also like a Nursultan Ruzaboyev pick for someone who we could fight if Nursultan wants to move up to middleweight. We'll have to see. As for Dylan, cut from the UFC, he will no longer be in there. We will not be seeing Dylan Buka anytime soon. That's the much I can tell you about that. But good stuff all around. Good win for Edmen, getting another career knockout. And with that, we got to the co-main event of the evening, and Youssef Zalal, baby. Youssef Zalal. If you'd have told me 2 years ago that Youssef Zalal would be the number 10 ranked featherweight in the world, I'd be going, did you have AI do this prediction or something? It's terrible. But no, Youssef Zalal, 28 years old, making 7 straight wins, and he is now the number 10 ranked featherweight in the world as he beats Calvin Kattar. Not even just easily, I mean, pretty handsomely, 29-28 across the board. You saw a bit of that old school Calvin coming alive in round number 3 with a couple of good punches, but Youssef was looking like prime Muhammad Ali in there, dodging all the punches. He outstruck him 26-8 in round 1. 27-10 in round 2, and then 21-20 in round number 3. He shoots 8 times, doesn't get a single one, outstrikes him 74-38 significantly. And Youssef Zalal, man, good freaking work. 4-0 since his return to the UFC. Like I said, picked up some independent wins, so the win streak's at 7. Great work. You know, people were wondering, why is he a minus 400, minus 500 favorite? This is why. The old Calvin Kattar is gone. It sucks. 36 years old, past his prime. I don't know what happened to Calvin. You know, ever since he lost that bad decision to Josh Emmett, his career's been in a downward spiral, and he's now on a 4-fight losing streak, 1-5 in his last 6. I don't know what to do with the guy. I honestly don't know what to do with Calvin Kattar. For Youssef Zalal, I mean, he's getting a top 10 opponent. Is that not super exciting? People are saying Aljamain Sterling. I like a Josh Emmett, Leroy Murphy winner. I like that fight, or even the loser. I like Arnold Allen at 7. I like Brian Ortega at 6. I like a lot of things for Youssef Zalal. For Calvin Kattar, I mean, you could have him fight Bryce. They aren't going to have him fight Bryce Mitchell. You could have him rematch Dan Ige. You could have him take on, Edson Barbosa was supposed to take on Steve Garcia Jr. That fight fell apart. You could give Steve Garcia Jr. a shot. The winner of Joe Anderson Brito and Pat Sabatini. You could give Chepe Mariscal a shot if he gets past his opponent, which I think he will. There are so many options that you can do. Gabriel Santos could be an option, but Calvin Kattar will be taking on a young up-and-comer trying to get into the top 15, or at best, maybe Danny Gay. I mean, I doubt it. It's going to be a long road if Calvin Kattar wants to get back to relevancy, and I honestly don't think that road is going to be traveling upwards. So, Calvin, sucks to see. I will never forget your knockout of Jeremy Stevens at UFC 249, one of my favorite knockouts I saw when I first started watching. It was a nasty ground and pound, but good work to Youssef Zalal. We ride with him representing Morocco, and how about that? He's going to be fighting a top 10 guy later in the year, hopefully, if he can stay healthy. But ladies and gentlemen, we then got to the main event. Here's the issue. It won Fight of the Night. I wasn't able to see it, so it is going to be impacted when I do my final rankings. I might have to rewatch the whole fight. But Jared Cannonier, man, 40 years old, getting his 10th career knockout, 13th career finish. And what a hectic fight, I was told. I was just told this was just an absolute crazy matchup. And the main things to know about this fight are that Jared Cannonier looked done in round 1. He looked washed, dropped twice, was shooting takedowns on Gregory Rodriguez, and Jared Cannonier just managed to survive. Gets in the round 2. We saw Gregory slow down a bit. Round 3 comes around. Cannonier drops him when RoboCop was looking phenomenal. And then round 4, I mean, we're barely into it. A couple punches is all it took. Gregory didn't even throw anything, and he was TKO'd. So Jared Cannonier back in the win column. I mean, fantastic work for him after going 0-2 in 2024. Back again with another victory. I mean, you cannot put this boy out. No, you can't. He'll remain ranked number 7. Good work for Jared Cannonier. As for Gregory, snapping his little winning streak here, I mean, it's just kind of a wake-up call. You know, clearly we know he can hang with Jared Cannonier. He dropped him twice in round 1, for goodness sakes, but the cardio kind of dipped in round 2. The chin faded in round 3, and by round 4, there was just a shell of the Gregory Rodriguez we knew before the fight. So, unfortunate results for Gregory Rodriguez. Back to the drawing board. Here's an issue. I know he can hang with guys. Really, I feel like him and the number 14th ranked Roman Kopilov, number 13th ranked Michel Pereira, heck, even Paulo Costa and him would put on a banger fight, but I just don't know what to do with him. I really don't. He's only 32. He looks old, but he's only 32. Truly is. All of his losses have come by knockout. It's almost impossible to choose who he's going to fight next, because I just saw him have a fight of the night, almost knock out the number 7th ranked guy in the world at middleweight, and now I'm just supposed to give him some up-and-comer, like an unranked guy? I don't know. But Gregory Rodriguez, he's going to be staying in the UFC, but I just think he just has to kind of realize, okay, if I want to be legit and compete, I have to have a good gas tank. I have to fix the issue with my chin, which is almost impossible to fix, really, once you reach a certain point. I mean, look at Volkanovski, for example. That chin is in turmoil. We'll have to see if it hangs in there, but it'll be interesting. Truly. As for Cannonier, I mean, 40 years old, what do we do with him? He's knocking out up-and-comers. What do we do? Now, Cannonier's not going to fight up. He has lost the number 5 guy, lost the number 4 guy. He will lose the number 3 guy, win over the number 2 guy, but that doesn't count. Lost the number 1 guy, nowhere near a title shot. Just beat Vettori, all right, who's going to be ranked number 8. He's taking on Roman Dolidze. Number 9 ranked Brendan Allen. He's coming off of actually him and Anthony Hernandez have a big fight coming up. So I think the winner of Brendan Allen and Anthony Hernandez may have a date with Jared Cannonier. You could try and run Jared Cannonier and Paulo Costa. Maybe that'll be sneaky good. You could even give Roman Kopilov a shot up in the rankings, but it will be interesting to see who they go with. If it's up to me, I'm saying the winner of Brendan Allen and Anthony Hernandez. I mean, Cannonier's just, you put up a good performance, but you're not going to be fighting up. You're not going to be getting a title shot. I mean, who was Cannonier mentioning? He mentioned someone. Cannonier mentioned, because people were saying, he could fight Nasruddin Evov, and he's like, dude, Nasruddin should get a title shot, and he just beat me. I mean, you could run that back. I would prefer to see someone else coming up fight Cannonier, and hey, if Cannonier's 41 years old, has a 3-fight win streak, he might be getting a title shot. Who knows? But overall, this looks like it was a pretty good UFC fight night. So far, the Apex cards have been pretty good this year. I mean, really haven't had a bad card in the UFC. As I kind of look at the schedule, I mean, 2 UFC Vegas cards. We had good times on the pay-per-views so far. It's been enjoyable. And the next time I see you, we'll be going to Seattle, Washington. That's right, the UFC is going to Seattle, and I'm more than curious to see how that works out, because I don't know what's going to be going on, but we've had a lot of fight cancellations, but that's something to talk about on next time. I keep saying next week, but later in the week's episode. As for now, that's all we got. That's all we got, guys. Fun weekend. Fun time talking about the fights. I love that I've actually spent more time recapping the fights than I've actually spent watching the fights from this past weekend. Hopefully this weekend I can maybe catch some fights, but I will be visiting my buddies in Wisconsin, which I am super pumped about, so we'll have to see. But as for now, guys, have a fantastic week. Have a fantastic life. Do spontaneous things. And as I'm probably going to learn in the next month or so, sometimes you have to tell the people you love no. What does that pertain to? I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned and catch it on next week's episode of the Surprise Jab Podcast. Have a good one, folks.